Welcome to ICAPS Excel lesson number 2. So today we're going to be working on how to make a beautifully formatted Excel table for one of our labs. So we're going to go ahead and open up a new Excel file and open up a blank workbook. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and enter in our data from the lab that we've done. So in our mock experiment today, we're going to be talking about having run some toy cars over the countertop, and we're going to be timing them for 5.00 seconds, and we're going to see how far they have traveled in that amount of time. So I'm just going to go ahead from my lab notebook and enter in the distances that my cars traveled. And so we did 5 different trials, and these were the values that we got. So go ahead and do this on your Excel as well. All right, so we've got our data entered in, but there's no titles, there's no column headings. We don't really know what's going on here. So this is not really the best place for our data to have been. So the first thing we're going to want to do is move our data so that we can actually put some column headings on here. So if we select our data and then you move the cursor until it turns into little arrows, we can actually drag it down a couple of cells. All right, so that's one way we can go about doing it. Another thing that we could do is if we right click on the one, we can actually insert some rows as well. So either one of those, but we want to get our cells moved. All right, so now we want to go ahead and we want to put in some titles. So I'm going to put in a title up top, speed of cars, since that's what overall we're going to be looking at. That was our experiment. And then this is my data for distance. So I'm going to go ahead and type in distance there. Sorry, my controls kind of covered up the D, but there's my distance. And then this is the column where I'm going to calculate speed later on, all right? So now I've got my titles in here. So this is great. So that's definitely an improvement, but there's no units involved here. So what are those distances? Is it 5.54 centimeters, 5.54 inches? Actually, it's 5.54 meters is what I had actually measured. And so I need to put that in here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that distance box again. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to put in meters in parentheses. And so notice that if I type it like that, it kind of gets hidden. So there's a couple different ways that we can change this. So you can resize the column by coming between the rows and moving it. All right. But that makes it kind of wide. So we could also come in and there's this feature called wrap text. So we can touch wrap text and then I can make the column narrow again. And notice that meters goes down. While I'm in here, I'm going to come in and do speed. So it was meters per second, since we're going to do calculations per 5 seconds. Notice, once again, kind of hangs over. So I could do the wrap text feature. And I can also change the size there. Actually, if I double click on these, it will minimize it. And then if we go smaller still, it'll minimize it to there as well. So we can use those different features. There's also an additional way that we could type in these words. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the wrap text so that I can show you the other one. And that's coming in here. And instead of having just a space, we can actually hold down the Alt key and then press Enter. And that puts in something called a carriage return. And so it actually forces that meters per second onto the next line. So we can also do it that way. So there's a lot of different ways you can go about making this formatting happen. Now we've got units. So this is great. The next thing we want to do is go ahead and put in some formulas, right? So last tutorial we learned about putting in formulas. So remember that if we are going to have Excel do math for us, we always want to start with the equal sign. And in this case, speed is distance divided by time. So I'm going to go ahead and click my distance data. And then I'm going to go ahead and divide it by my time. So according to the sheet, every interval was 5.00 seconds. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. Great. So Excel has calculated that for me. So I can now either copy using Control V or Command V and then go down into each cell and paste, or I could copy and then I could actually select all of the cells and paste all at once. There's another feature though that I'd like to show you today, and that's called the drag copy. And so once I've typed it into one cell, if I want it to calculate things in adjacent cells, I would move my cursor down into the bottom right corner until the cursor changes color, and then I would click and drag through all of the cells, and it'll do the same feature as the copying that we did before. So this is a great way of filling in cells. And so if we set up our Excel table correctly, we can fill in whole columns of data. All right, so now that we've got our data in here and we've got our calculations of speed, the next thing is we want to take a look at significant figures. So we know as great ICPS students that when we're doing multiplication or division, right, that the number of significant figures needs to be the same as the least number of the values that we are dividing or multiplying. So 5.54 has 3 sig figs. And so even though here in the formula, it's dropped it down to just that 5, we know from our experiment that we were actually calculating it at 5.00. So 5.00 also has 3 significant figures. That means that our answer needs to have 3 significant figures. But right now Excel is showing us 4 significant figures. And Excel is always going to give us the maximum number of decimal places that it can. But we have a way of forcing our hand and making it change these. And so that's the increase decimal buttons and the decrease decimal buttons. So in this case, we know that we have too many decimal places in a couple of these numbers. So in each one of these cases, the answers should only have 3 sig figs. So I can go ahead and hold down Control, and I'm going to select all of the cells that currently have too many decimal places. Notice that I left this one, 0.996, because it has 3 sig figs right now, so it's actually correct. And so I'm going to change all of these to have 1 less decimal, and then I'll click away. So notice now all of our speeds have 3 significant figures, and so we've corrected that. All right, so go ahead and take a minute, correct them on yours as well. So if they had all needed less sig figs, we could have just selected all of them and done them all at once. Or if most of them need the same number of sig figs, you could do all of those and then go back in and click maybe just the one that needs to be corrected afterwards. So these are kind of some tricks to make your work go a little bit faster. All right, so another thing we might want to do is emphasize some of the important text. So something like the title, right? Speed of cars. Maybe I want to make that bold or italicized or underlined. So there's different features up here. And so if we want to do it to all of the words in a given box, we click on that box and we click it and it will bold everything in that cell. However, we might want to do it to just some of the words inside of a cell, in which case we'd click on the cell and then we'd come up in the formula bar and we would highlight just the portion that we wanted to change. So I just want distance and speed to be bold, but I don't want the units to be bold. So I'm going to come into the formula bar and I'm going to bold just those words. And so notice our units aren't bold, but our words are. Another thing we might want to do is maybe shade in the answers. Maybe we've done a long experiment. Maybe we have a lot more cells and we want to really emphasize, hey, this was the final result. So we can select cells, and there's also these other features where we might change the font color or we might change the shading of the cell. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and highlight those speeds in yellow. All right, so some other things that we can do. I mentioned before how we can resize our cells, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I always like to take up a minimum amount of space, especially if I'm going to copy and paste a table into maybe a Word document, some sort of a write-up. Minimizing the amount of space that a table takes up is a good idea. Now, you might, if you have, I'm going to put in just like a very large number over here in another cell. If you shrink a cell smaller than what a number can fit, you're going to get these hashtag marks. And those just mean that, hey, you've shrunk this cell down too far. We can't actually display the number properly. In which case, you'd want to expand it back out so that the number fits. Another thing besides resizing the cells that you might want to do is change maybe the font size. So here, maybe I want to make my title a little bit bigger. So I'm going to change it. I'm going to make it 14 font. Now notice that it doesn't fit anymore quite into that space. And so you may need to then increase some of the space. Another thing that isn't mentioned in the worksheet, but notice that speed of cars actually is in 2 different boxes. but the words are only contained in one. And so there's another feature where we can select both of those boxes and we can say merge and center. So this will actually combine those. So now box A1 and B1 are together. And so that title will be located in one bigger box together as well. And it centers it at the same time. So centering our data and titles is another thing we might want to do. And so those are these features right here. So this centers it horizontally, and this would center it vertically if for some reason there was extra space in the box. So having it in the middle makes it look a little bit nicer as well. But if for some reason you wanted to align it to the left or align it to the right, those are options as well. So I'm going to leave it in the center for now. Another thing that makes things look a lot better, especially when printed, is to put a border. So if we go ahead and select our cells and then come up here to this box, and it is a drop-down menu. And so we can put all of our borders in. So notice that it's drawn those lines in between our data points. We also have the ability to come in, and they have some thicker lines as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put a thicker outside border just around kind of my title portion. So now I've got kind of a thicker border up top, and then I have all of my data down below. Maybe I'll put a thicker border around just all the data as well. So just ways that you can make it look a little bit neater, make things easier to find. All right, so one of the things I'm going to come in and do is I mentioned that in the previous tutorial that there was a way that you could put your formulas. And so especially if you're going to be printing your Excel file, it might be helpful to your teacher to have your formulas displayed. So notice when I did copy and paste and moved it over to the side, it transposed it and it made it B3 divided by 5, which I don't want. I want it to display what's actually happening in cell B3. So I changed the formula back to A3 divided by 5. And now I'm going to go ahead and put in that apostrophe so that it displays my equation there for my teacher to see. All right, so now I have this all set up, and I'm thinking about printing this particular lab. Sometimes you might have to print out your tables from your labs. And so one of the things that I suggest doing is going up into, I bet this is print even though it's covered, print, and going under page setup, all right? And under page setup, under sheet, there's a couple of things that you can check off. So you can actually put in grid lines. You can also put in those row and column headings. So it will add in the A through C and the 1 through 7 that showed up on my actual file. So this looks a little bit more like what my actual file would look like if I was printing this out and not submitting electronically my Excel file to my teacher. So they'd be able to see what was going on and grade it a little bit easier. It also gives something to mark up on in case there was something wrong and the teacher has a paper to comment on as well. So that's it for this tutorial. So now you should be able to resize columns and cells, be able to change some of the formatting inside of those cells to make things look more appropriately sized, do things like bold, make sure to put in your units, and always make sure those units are really in the column headers as well. Notice that in the data, there's only numbers. If we had put any of our units down in our numbers, Excel wouldn't have been able to use these in the formulas. So that's it for now, and I will see you for Excel tutorial number 3.